There was a boy born in Gary, Indiana. Not in a mansion, not with silver spoons or golden opportunities, just a small house where dreams felt too big for the walls that held them. His father pushed him. Hard. Some say too hard. The rehearsals were grueling, the mistakes were met with consequences, and while the world would later debate the methods, no one could deny what was being forged in those moments. An unbreakable will. Michael Jackson didn't start as a king. He started as a child who decided that if the world wasn't going to hand him greatness, he would build it with his own hands, note by note, step by step, moonwalk by moonwalk. When you're young, they tell you to dream smaller, to be realistic, to fit in. But Michael looked at the world and said, "No, I'll make you see what I see." And that refusal to shrink, that was his first act of rebellion against mediocrity. He practiced while others played. He refined while others rested. He believed while others doubted. Because deep down, he knew something most people forget. Ordinary is a choice. The world wasn't against him yet, but it would be. And when it came, he would be ready, because he had already fought the hardest battle, the one against his own limitations. Life lesson. Your beginning doesn't determine your ending. What you do in the unseen hours when no one's watching, when no one believes, that's what builds legends. Start before you're ready. Work before you're recognized. Greatness is a decision you make in private. If you enter this world knowing you are loved, and you leave this world knowing the same, then everything that happens in between can be dealt with. Michael Jackson. They called it the Motown era. But for Michael, it was a university. Every stage was a classroom, every performance a final exam, and he never missed a lesson. Watch the footage. Even at 11 years old, Michael Jackson didn't just sing, he became the song. His body moved with a precision that seemed impossible for someone so young. But here's what most people miss. That wasn't talent, that was obsession. While his brothers were good, Michael was studying. He watched James Brown until he could replicate every spin, every drop, every calculated moment of controlled chaos. He studied Fred Astaire until elegance was coded into his muscle memory. He absorbed Jackie Wilson, Sammy Davis Jr., every master who came before him. Excellence wasn't a goal for Michael. It was a language, and he became fluent by refusing to accept good enough. When Motown executives praised his performance, he asked what he could do better. When the crowd went wild, he reviewed the footage looking for flaws only he could see. This wasn't perfectionism born from insecurity. This was the discipline of someone who understood a simple truth. The world remembers excellence, but it forgets good. And so he chose to be unforgettable. Life lesson. Study those who came before you, not to copy them, but to understand the language of mastery. Excellence isn't a destination, it's a daily practice. Don't just do the work, study it, refine it, make it so undeniable that the world has no choice but to pay attention. I'm never satisfied with anything. I'm a perfectionist. It's part of who I am. Michael Jackson. There comes a moment in every great story when the hero must leave the familiar. For Michael, that moment was terrifying. The Jackson 5 was his family, literally. His brothers, his father's vision, his identity for as long as he could remember. Walking away meant risking everything, the love, the security, the only life he'd ever known. But there was a voice inside him, growing louder with every album, every performance, every creative idea that didn't quite fit the group's mold. It whispered, "You are meant for something more." So, in 1979, he did the unthinkable. He stepped into the unknown. He recorded Off the Wall, and he did it his way. The critics waited for him to fail. Some of his family felt betrayed. The industry watched skeptically. Another child star trying to make it as an adult. Another gamble that probably wouldn't pay off. But Michael didn't walk alone because he stopped loving his family. He walked alone because he loved his truth more. And sometimes that's the hardest kind of love there is. When Off the Wall became a phenomenon, when it sold millions and proved he could stand on his own, it wasn't just a career move. It was a declaration. I define myself. Life lesson. There will come a time when you must choose between comfort and calling, between the approval of those you love and the truth of who you are. Walking alone isn't about abandoning people. It's about honoring the unique path that only you can walk. Trust the voice inside, even when the world goes quiet. I'm just like anyone. I cut and I bleed, and I embarrass easily. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson entered the studio with producer Quincy Jones to create an album. But they weren't just making music. They were attempting the impossible, to create something that had never existed before. Thriller wasn't born from following trends. It was born from ignoring them entirely. Rock music was for white audiences. R&B was for black audiences. Pop was safe. Dance was underground. Michael looked at these invisible walls and said, "Watch me walk through all of them." He blended rock guitar solos with funk bass lines. He turned music videos into short films with actual narratives, choreography, and cinematic production. He didn't ask if MTV would play a black artist's video. He made videos so extraordinary they had no choice. Everyone told him Thriller was too ambitious. The music video cost $500,000, unheard of at the time. The album tried to do too many things. It would confuse audiences. It would fail. But Michael understood something about innovation. The future always looks impossible from the present. When Thriller became the best-selling album of all time, when it broke every barrier, when it united audiences across every divide, it wasn't luck. It was the inevitable result of refusing to create within limits you didn't set for yourself. Life lesson. Innovation means creating what doesn't exist yet, even when everyone says it's impossible. Don't let the world's current boundaries define what you build. The categories, the boxes, that's not how it's done. Those are invitations to prove them wrong. Create fearlessly. I always wanted to be a master at what I do. That's why I was so driven. Michael Jackson. And then it happened. The thing that happens to everyone who flies too high, shines too bright, achieves too much. The world turned on him. First, it was his appearance. They analyzed every change, every surgery, every choice about his own body as if he owed the world an explanation. Then it was his lifestyle, the ranch, the privacy, the childlike wonder that never quite left him. They called him strange, weird, wacko jacko. The same media that built him up now found profit in tearing him down. The same industry that celebrated him now whispered behind his back. And when the accusations came, false, cruel, designed to destroy, many of those who once called him a genius now treated him like a villain. Michael knew pain that most of us will never understand. The pain of being misunderstood on a global scale, of having your kindness twisted into something sinister, of watching the world you gave everything to suddenly decide you were the enemy. But here's what they didn't understand. Michael Jackson had been fighting since he was 5 years old. This wasn't his first battle. It was just the cruelest one. So he did what he always did. He created, he loved, he kept going. Because giving up would mean letting the lies win, and Michael refused to give them that power. Life lesson. When the world turns against you, and it will if you dare to be great, remember that their opinion is not your truth. They will misunderstand you. They will twist your intentions. They will try to make you small. But you don't owe them smallness. You owe yourself the courage to keep being who you are, even when it costs you everything. Lies run sprints, but the truth runs marathons. Michael Jackson. Every era, Michael changed.
Not because he chased trends, but because he refused to be trapped by his own success. After Thriller, everyone expected Thriller 2.0. Michael gave them Bad, darker, edgier, more aggressive. When Bad dominated the charts, they expected more of the same. He gave them dangerous, industrial, experimental, pushing boundaries even further. Most artists find a formula that works and repeat it until it stops making money. Michael found formulas that worked and destroyed them to discover what else was possible. This terrified record executives. Why change what's working? They pleaded. But Michael knew something they didn't. The greatest threat to your future isn't failure. It's yesterday's success. Reinvention is terrifying. It means abandoning the safety of what you've already proven you can do. It means risking the approval of fans who loved the old version of you. It means starting over, again and again, even when you're already on top. But it's also the only way to truly live, because the moment you stop evolving, you start dying. And Michael Jackson was many things, but he was never someone who stopped growing. Life lesson. Don't become a prisoner of your own success. The version of you that got you here won't get you there. Keep evolving, keep experimenting, keep destroying your old formulas to discover new ones. The world will resist your changes. Change anyway. Growth requires courage. I'm never pleased with anything. I'm a perfectionist. It's part of who I am. Michael Jackson. June 25, 2009. The world awoke up to the news. Michael Jackson was gone. And suddenly, all the people who had mocked him, criticized him, doubted him, they all remembered. They remembered the moonwalk, the voice, the magic. They remembered what they'd lost. But Michael's story doesn't end with his death. It ends with what he did while he was alive, despite the pain. He performed with broken bones. He smiled through betrayal. He created beauty while drowning in loneliness. He gave the world joy even when his own was constantly questioned. Every time he stepped on stage, every time he recorded a song, every time he danced, he was choosing to transform his pain into something transcendent. This is the part they don't teach you about greatness. It's not about avoiding suffering. It's about deciding what you'll do with it. Michael could have quit 1,000 times. After the allegations, after the trial, after the betrayals and the bankruptcies and the public humiliations. He had every reason to disappear, to give up, to let the pain win. But he kept dancing, because that's what warriors do. They dance through the pain. They create through the chaos. They love through the hate. Life lesson. Your pain will either destroy you or define you. The choice is yours. When life breaks you, you can stay broken, or you can use the pieces to build something beautiful. Keep creating, keep loving, keep dancing, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. That's not denial. That's courage. In a world filled with hate, we must still dare to hope. In a world filled with anger, we must still dare to comfort. In a world filled with despair, we must still dare to dream. Michael Jackson. June 25, 2009. The world awoke up to the news. Michael Jackson was gone. And suddenly, all the people who had mocked him, criticized him, doubted him, they all remembered. They remembered the moonwalk, the voice, the magic. They remembered what they'd lost. But Michael's story doesn't end with his death. It ends with what he did while he was alive, despite the pain. He performed with broken bones. He smiled through betrayal. He created beauty while drowning in loneliness. He gave the world joy even when his own was constantly questioned. Every time he stepped on stage, every time he recorded a song, every time he danced, he was choosing to transform his pain into something transcendent. This is the part they don't teach you about greatness. It's not about avoiding suffering. It's about deciding what you'll do with it. Michael could have quit 1,000 times. After the allegations, after the trial, after the betrayals and the bankruptcies and the public humiliations, he had every reason to disappear, to give up, to let the pain win. But he kept dancing, because that's what warriors do. They dance through the pain. They create through the chaos. They love through the hate. Life lesson. Your pain will either destroy you or define you. The choice is yours. When life breaks you, you can stay broken, or you can use the pieces to build something beautiful. Keep creating, keep loving, keep dancing, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts. That's not denial. That's courage. In a world filled with hate, we must still dare to hope. In a world filled with anger, we must still dare to comfort. In a world filled with despair, we must still dare to dream. Michael Jackson.
Walk into any country, any culture, any corner of this planet. Play a few notes of Billie Jean, watch what happens. Generations who weren't even born when Michael died know every word. Children in villages without electricity can do the moonwalk. His music transcends language, race, religion, politics, everything that usually divides us. This is what immortality looks like. Michael Jackson's legacy isn't just the albums or the awards or the records. It's the proof that one person, armed with nothing but talent and an unbreakable will, can change the entire world. He showed us that barriers are just invitations to break them, that excellence is a choice, not a gift, that your past doesn't determine your future, that kindness matters more than revenge, that innovation requires courage, that pain can be transformed into purpose. Every artist who dances today owes him a debt. Every dreamer who refuses to shrink owes him a nod. Every person who's ever been told they're too different, too strange, too ambitious, they owe him gratitude. Because Michael proved that different isn't wrong. Different is legendary. They tried to erase him. The scandals, the accusations, the mockery. But you can't erase impact. You can't cancel truth, and you can't destroy someone who lives in the hearts of billions. Michael Jackson didn't just survive the world being against him, he transcended it. Life lesson. Your legacy isn't what you say about yourself. It's what the world whispers long after you're gone. Build something so undeniable, so beautiful, so true that it outlives you. Live in such a way that your existence makes the world better simply because you were here. That's how you become immortal. Closing quote. I just want to leave a mark behind that says, I was here, I existed, I was important, I mattered. Michael Jackson. So now it's your turn, your moment, your test. Because the world will turn on you too. Maybe not with magazine covers or court trials, but it will happen. They'll doubt you, criticize you, tell you to be more realistic. They'll mock your dreams, question your choices, misunderstand your intentions. And in that moment, when everyone seems against you, you'll have to decide. Will you shrink? Will you quit? Will you let their noise become louder than your truth? Or will you remember Michael? The boy from Gary who became the king of pop, not because the world handed it to him, but because he refused every excuse, every limitation, every reason to give up. You have that same choice, that same power, that same potential. Michael Jackson's story isn't just about music. It's about what happens when a human being decides that their dreams are non-negotiable, when they choose excellence over comfort, when they pick creation over destruction, when they keep going, keep growing, keep glowing, even when the whole world goes dark. You are here for a reason. You have gifts the world needs. You have a voice that matters. You have a story that only you can tell. So tell it.
live it, be it. And when they say you can't, when they say you shouldn't, when they say you're too much or not enough, remember Michael. Remember that boy who moonwalked across every barrier they put in front of him. And then, do the same. Life lesson. This is your life, your one chance, your singular opportunity to be more than a passenger in someone else's story. The world needs your gifts, your voice, your courage. Don't let fear, doubt, or criticism steal your greatness. Remember what MJ did, and then go do it your way. The throne is waiting. Before you judge me, try hard to love me. Look within your heart, then ask, have you seen my childhood? Michael Jackson.